No, I cannot. Can you see me? Okay. Correct. Yeah, now I can hear, but can't see you yet.
Oh, video. Well, I haven't I'm
Now
about to
I can.
shower. I'm
Now I
about
can
to
see you.
shower. I'm about to shower.
That's okay, Mike.
All right. So, can you hear me on the computer
Yes, I'm shutting off the mobile. Just a second.
now?
Yeah,
But I can't.
I can see
Okay.
you.
Okay. Let me shut this off. Okay. So, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So, let me put up the let me put up the PowerPoint. I don't know how I do that. So, I'm going to put up my PowerPoint. Do you see the PowerPoint?
See from the share button, did you share your screen?
Oh, okay. Let me go back. Let me get rid of this. Zoom, where are you? Here. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Uh, share button. Share. Sign
Just
in.
below the screen.
Share.
Yeah,
Oh, that's all this. That's all the stuff I have running. Okay.
correct. So it will show one of the
Um,
screen and where your presentation is open. And you can click on the presentation and share the same.
all right. Do you see that?
Yes, yes, I can see this. And then you go on the presentation mode and then it starts.
Okay. So the only thing I wanted to check now, by the way, I'm so petrified of this not working. Can I just stay in here for half an hour?
You can. I'll just
Okay.
keep it on
I'm going
and I
to.
will let
Um,
people join.
I'm going to go down. Do you see the slides?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the only thing I want to do is I want to make sure this one thing, okay. Robust construction. Can you hear that?
Horizontal
Yes.
sliding
Doors are designed primarily all right. For light. Then I think we are okay. So let me go back to the beginning. So now you can see me and we can see the
Yes,
screen, right?
yes,
All right. I am going to get ready and
sure.
I am not going to touch anything.
Okay, so before I just want to give you a brief that when we start the webinar, I will start with my presentation showing that what do we do about ICE platform. Then I will introduce you and post which you can start with your presentation.
All right. You just tell me when to go. And now I'm going to turn the audio off in a second just to make sure that I know how to
Audio
do
and
it.
video, you can just switch it off for some time.
You
I
did not
can,
hear me.
yeah,
Ah,
you can
okay.
freshen up and come back.
Okay. I'm gonna shut it off now. I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna
Okay,
come right back here.
sure, sure. So I will just keep this on and you can join back after your once you're freshen up. Yes, just a second.
Hi, how are you doing?
Now you're mute, Mike.
You're
Oh,
muted.
sorry. All
How
right.
are you
I'm
doing?
very good, Tack. I have very bad hair because I have to go get ready now.
You have to go get ready. Okay, who are
Yes.
you hiring as your hairdresser?
No hairdresser. It'll be
No.
me.
Okay. So we get back in another 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
Yes, I will be
Yep.
back in definitely 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
I'll
All right.
keep this on, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
This right?
Yes.
This no. What? So
And lastly, and then lastly, we also see a lot of freight and passenger applications, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. So the question comes that there's a vertical door, there's a freight elevator, there's a goods lift. How is the decision made? Who decides? Why is it needed? Why is their decision made to offer these vertical doors and good lifts or freight elevators? So the decision is made because somebody is going to build a building, somebody is going to move into a building, somebody is going to rehab a building. So either the owner, the developer, the landlord, he's going to speak to somebody. He's going to speak to an architect. He might speak to a general contractor. He's going to speak to probably somebody on this call, an elevator professional, who then engages a manufacturer. And the discussion that should be had, or the discussion that is had, is what are you going to use this building for? Who will visit? How will they use the building? What will you manufacture? If you're going to manufacture or store something here, where are you going to store it? How is it going to be moved? Are you going to produce it? How large is it? How heavy is it? And then somebody needs to decide what kind of an elevator this person needs to best suit the purpose of the building. And in our world, there are three choices to move things. You could move things in a material lift. This is quite common in what we see in Amazon. Amazon uses these material lifts with automated material retrieval systems. These lifts are great, except that you can't ride them. They have big doors. You can't use them for multiple floors. They really have no enclosure. So they're really not sort of what we generally think of as an elevator, but they suit the bill. Another option to move things is a service elevator or a passenger elevator. Again, these elevators are okay, but they are light duty. They are pre-engineered by the manufacturer. There are three sizes, there are three configurations, there are three colors, and they're very good at moving people. They might be good at moving light packages, but they're really not good at moving freight or things that could damage doors. And then there's the freight elevator. So obviously, this is our wheelhouse. Freight elevators or good lifts, they're very specific. They're application specific. What I mean by application specific is, a guy like TAC calls us and says, hey, this is how much of a hoistway I have. This is what I'm moving. This is how much space I have. This is how heavy it is. What do I need here? And then a company like ours says, okay, here's the biggest door, the best configuration for that application. And the most important thing for us about a freight elevator is we would say anytime you have a device with wheels, a forklift, a hand truck, a pallet jack, a car, a truck, anytime that you have something with wheels that can hit door panels, if they hit those door panels and those door panels are pushed out of the track, horizontal doors, things that you would see on a passenger elevator, that elevator is out of service. So maybe that wasn't the right door for that application. So that's where the vertical door really has great applicability. So specifically, if you were to choose the vertical door, what values do you get from the vertical door? So we talked about where we're seeing the vertical door. We talked about who has to maybe supply or specify the vertical door, and what do you really get with the vertical door? So look, the vertical door all comes down to most shutdowns are related to doors. So when you specify a freight elevator or good lifts with vertical doors, it's because the owner, the tenant, the manufacturer, who's ever in the building wants the most uptime for that elevator. They can't live without that elevator. If those doors get damaged and they're out of service and they can't move their material, they can't move cars, they're really in a bad spot. So that's why the vertical door is specified. We want to maximize uptime. The material being loaded is heavy, or the class or the size of the material, and it's critically important that that elevator provide good use. So I'm just going to run a short video to show you the 6 major benefits that you get with a vertical slide door.
Robust construction. Horizontal sliding doors are designed primarily for light-duty applications. This can result in damage due to incidental impact from loading, misuse, and abuse. Vertical sliding Peelle doors are designed specifically to the capacity and loading method of the elevator and are heavy-duty and reinforced to accommodate hand truck, pallet, and forklift loading. Truckable sills. Horizontal sliding door sills are subject to damage, premature wear, and debris which affect door performance. Vertical sliding Peelle door trucking sills are designed specifically to the capacity and loading method of the elevator and are flat to allow smooth loading. Door guides are located in the hoistway, running vertically so they are not damaged during loading and debris cannot gather in the door guides. Independent locks. Horizontal sliding doors, which sustain a high impact, may also suffer interlock misalignment, causing a shutdown. Vertical sliding Peelle door interlocks are independent of the panels and are located away from the opening, and thus protected on the door guides. Space savings. Horizontal doors require a large amount of return space for the panels. Vertical sliding Peelle doors typically require 13 inches or 330 millimeters of return space. This means more usable building space for the owner. Sequence operation. Horizontal doors are subject to incidental impact during loading when the entrance is not fully open, causing a shutdown. Vertical sliding Peelle doors permit loading only when the hoistway and car door entrance is fully open. Independent operation. Horizontal sliding doors have a mechanical coupling between the car door and hoistway door, which can separate during heavy-duty loading, causing an elevator shutdown. Vertically sliding Peelle doors have independent operation with no mechanical coupling between the car door and hoistway door, allowing for heavy-duty loading conditions. Robust construction.
All right. So just to narrow in on those again. So there's 6 things, right? Robust construction. Obviously, our door gets some heavy duty use. Therefore, it's made stronger. Lots of steel that you saw there in the video, but those panels are 12 gauge steel. The trucking sill is all steel. The trucking sill is suited for the capacity, the width, and the class of loading. You see here that here's a passenger sill. These sills over time, if this is a passenger elevator, this is a terrible sill, right? So there's a couple of extra pieces here. It's all jagged. When they wear and the doors can't close, you'll have an elevator that doesn't perform very well, at least doors that won't perform very well. Our door is meant for things to be driven over it. So it's flat. It facilitates the movement of freight. We talked about the independent lock in the video. If you hit a horizontal door, a passenger door, hard enough, that lock mechanism, that clutch, the linkage between the car door and the hoistway door might not make. That means you have an elevator that's out of service. Our lock is on the inside. It's on the rail. It's very well protected. It never gets struck. You know, you will never have an elevator out of service because of interlock damage. We talked about the space savings. We only need 330 millimeters on either side. If you have a door that's uh, a meter wide, it needs a meter to slide into the hoistway. So we save a lot of hoistway space for the owner. Sequence operation simply means that the gate closes first and opens first, and it is the thing that is closest to the rider. So when the car gate or the car door, sometimes this is mesh, sometimes this is solid, when it is 2/3 closed, then the doors start to close. Same in opening. And because of that, many drivers of forklifts don't charge the opening. You know, you can see the passenger elevator over here on the right, that damage to the bolster and the panels because it was charged by the operator of the forklift truck. And then the last thing was mentioned was independent operation. We don't link our car door with the landing door. They are independent operators, independent mechanisms. So when one is out of service, the other is not out of service. So it really comes down to the vertical slide door's benefits over a horizontal door are really these simple 6 things. It's construction, it's flat trucking sill, it's independent, robust lock, the space savings, the sequence operation, and then it's independent operation. And then there are some things that are unique to the vertical door and some applications that it offers that you can't get with a horizontal door. So I'll just go over those quickly. There are people who are concerned about the vertical door, its size, its safety features, and we've tried to address that as best we can. We've been doing this for 120 years. We operate globally. We understand that people might not understand the door. So all of our equipment now comes with safety labels that tell you how to operate it properly, safety labels that tell you where not to stand, safety labels that tell you what not to do. Our unlocking device is a code-compliant unlocking device that is self-locking, self-closing. It's provided with the equipment. We double lock our door. Any door over 10 foot wide, which is, I guess that's in the 3-meter range. Any door that is greater than 10 feet wide, we double lock on both sides so it stays closed. Our new controller, which is not new anymore, we've been selling it for 15 years, is wireless. Wireless gives you the ability to slow the door down to make it quieter. It has closed loop. It has a VVVF drive. It is green. It takes less time to install. It has a lot of great features. So we've updated the controls to match elevator controls. We are in a position to power operate our older manual equipment or to remotorize our own equipment when an upgrade is needed. And because we are a global manufacturer, we comply with ANSI standards as well as EN 81. We recognize that the car door or the car gate, this is a car gate, it could be solid, it could be a car door. We recognize that the car door is the closest thing to the rider, either the people riding the elevator or the people moving freight. Over the years, we have changed the design of this device many times. It was an expanded metal. It then went to a diamond weave, and now it's a very tight weave. And the reason for the tight weave is so that you can't pass things through it. All gates have a reversing edge, which is this boot on the bottom. In addition to the reversing edge, we used to offer a sensor beam, and now they are provided with light curtains or dual light curtains, depending upon the jurisdiction. We can make them very bright colors so that people see them. Buzzers, strobes. Sometimes this car gate is a solid panel. I'll show you that in a moment. Sometimes it's half solid, half mesh, but there are a lot of options because we recognize that that item is the closest thing to the rider and the freight. And we are also seeing across the globe situations where the rider, regular people, not freight handlers, are in the freight elevator. So we've had to address that by changing the design. What you see in this picture, you see a forklift here, and this is a freight elevator or good lifts, but what you see in the back, that is a solid panel, full height car door with a vision panel. There are no visible chains, there is no visible hardware because there are going to be riders in this elevator. When we have that situation, when we know that people will be riding in the freight elevator or the good lifts, what we do is that car gate becomes a car door. It is full height. It is solid panel. We hide all of the operating mechanisms. We put a gate lock with a battery backup on that device. We'll provide it with strobe lights, warning buzzers, light curtains. And if you ask, well, where would that be? Where would riders be in a freight elevator or a good lifts? We see that in repurposed retail stores, self-storage facilities, parking garages where people are taking their own car to the parking floor. Some people are living in old manufacturing spaces and they're using the freight elevator as the only way to move within the building. So we've had to address that, and we have addressed that, and that is something that we've done in view of the codes. Now, this is a very busy chart, and I don't want you guys to spend too much time looking at it. I just wanted to recognize that there are many options available when laying out a freight elevator or a good lifts with vertical doors. Most people are most familiar with these first three, which are traditional vertical biparting doors where half the panel moves up and half the panel moves down. But there are other applications and other situations where we modify that design. This design here is called a telco upper, and what you see here is two panels that slide up in the up direction and one panel slides down. And why we would do that is because there isn't adequate overhead for the upper panel, so we break it in two pieces and one half slides down. These doors, which are called compound 2-to-1, think of them as unequally divided, where one third slides down and 2/3 slide up. That would be a situation where there is a shallow pit, not enough room for the lower panel, so we make it smaller, and then we have 2/3 of it slide up. But what's not shown here is we can take the whole panel, actually, if you didn't have adequate overhead, and slide it in the down direction. If we have no pit at all, no room for the panel to slide down, we can have the panel slide up, and we can do that in either 1, 2, or 3 pieces. And for our car doors, car gates, the traditional gate or car door is 6 foot high, either one panel or two panels. And it's typically 2 meters. If we don't have enough space for a single blade, we can make it in 2 blades, but we can also have a full height car door, car gate, which would be single, 2, or 3 piece slide up. So there's lots of options. These are not decisions that you need to make. You can talk to your elevator manufacturer. You can talk to your elevator consultant. You can confer with Peelle and just tell us, here's how much space we have. Here's the width, and here are the spaces between the floors. Here's my pit. Here's my overhead. And we will tell you, which door fits in that particular floor. We'd be happy to do that. So I thought it would be interesting to show you vertical door applications in North America and Europe. I showed you some cartoons. I showed you one picture when I started the presentation, but the next few slides are actual job applications across the globe that have vertical doors and the value that somebody must have seen where those were specified. So this is a very typical application of the vertical door, and starting from left to right, and I've actually taken most of these pictures, so I know where these are. This is a parking garage in New York City over on the left. You never have one auto lift. You always have two in case one goes down. But you know, you can't have a parking garage. You can't have a hotel with a parking garage. You can't have a condo building with a parking garage unless you have two elevators in case one goes down. And that's pretty typical of what you see here. So here's two auto lifts side by side with vertical doors. And you can see that these are traditional vertical doors where one half slides up and one half slides down. The middle picture, this is the CBC building in Toronto, Canada, and this is a truck lift. This truck probably delivers food. There might be a garbage truck. It would come in from the street. It would go down to whatever level, unload whatever it has to load. But you can see that this is a very large auto lift, truck lift application. And this other elevator, now that's a pretty big truck, but I know this is the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. This elevator was built for a tractor trailer or a tour bus. So they drive that tractor trailer or tour bus off the street. They put it into this truck lift and they bring it down into the building. And they're usually actually delivering a sports team, typically a basketball team, into the building that plays at that Barclays arena. But just to give you context, this is probably about 6 meters high. This is probably 18 feet tall and 12 feet wide. And you can see that this device here, this is a standard 6-foot high single blade car door that sits on the platform. These are also very typical freight and good lifts applications. Now, all of these things have wheels, and all of these items were delivered onto this elevator by something that could do damage to the doors. This was pushed on. You can see that this pallet was delivered by a forklift's blades. That thing in the back was rolled on. What you see here in the back is the landing door. That is the 6-foot high car door. And obviously the landing doors on the level that we're at are open. This next picture, this is the Hong Kong International Airport. So this is a pallet that is destined for a plane's cargo hold, and that is delivered by a very big device. And there is just a line of freight elevators at this airport delivering freight to planes destined for wherever they are around the world. And this last slide, if you guys are ever shop at IKEA, this is an IKEA store, and what you see lined up at the IKEA store are shopping carts. This is probably at the parking lot level. People have shopped, they've left their carts in the shopping cart level, and then that freight elevator delivers them back up to the floors. These next two jobs, pretty standard. They're both biparting, but what I wanted to show you here is because of the environment, what the customer elected to do was to ask us to make those doors stainless steel. Now, these are 4 auto lifts and truck lifts. This is a project called 787, I believe it's 7th Avenue in New York City. And that's what you see here. There are 2 truck lifts and there are 2 auto lifts, and they have stainless steel faces because this is on the street and it's going to be subject to snow, rain, ice. And the other project to the right, these doors do not have a stainless steel face like these doors. These doors have a stainless steel face. These doors on the right, this is at an Anheuser-Busch brewery, and these elevators are washed down. Every component of the freight door in this application was built out of stainless steel. The door panels, the trucking sills, the rails, the hardware, the chain, everything was stainless steel because they hosed down the elevator, they hosed down the floor. So this would be very typical in North America. Anywhere there is food processing and there's a freight elevator with vertical doors, the entire door would be made out of stainless steel. So this is what this first picture, which is actually a project in Israel, this is the stainless steel car door from the room side. So what you're seeing is the hoistway door partially opened. Here's the upper panel, here's the lower panel, and the stainless steel car door on the platform has not yet opened. So once the hoistway door is 2/3 open, which is just about now, the car door would then open. So that's what that looks like from the room side. This is a museum in Poland, that middle picture, and that is probably as wide as you think it is. I believe that door is almost 10 meters, and it is at a museum in Poland. We have a lot of jobs that are in museums. Museums move in works of art, they move in things, they kind of move things on devices. So this is a very large freight elevator for that museum. Sometimes a door of that size would also be in a convention center. And then I thought this project was interesting because what you're seeing here, you're definitely seeing a freight elevator and you're seeing the car door open. But what you're seeing in the background is a passenger entrance, a horizontal door. So on this project, what Peelle provided was freight elevator doors, vertical slide doors on one side, and then Peelle passenger doors on the opposite side. So that's an interesting application. And then my last slide, these are doors that slide up. This is a truck lift in London, and this is the vision panel. So if you can imagine, you would be standing here looking inside. This door is also probably about 6 meters tall, and you can see 1, 2, 3 panels. These 3 panels slide up in the up direction, and then the truck goes in and out. This middle picture is biparting, but the upper panel is in 2 pieces. So the lower panel slides down and the upper panel slides up, because you see the vision panel, this is only about 5 feet or slightly less than 2 meters. And again, and the last door, you can see that, again, you have to be able to look out this vision panel. So if this is less than 3 meters, this is a very small opening, but all 3 panels, 1, 2, 3 panels slide up, which means there isn't adequate overhead for vertical biparting. Easy to do. It was the application we were charged with, so that's what we provided. All right. So the last section of the video, and this is just in case people were curious to know, what happens to the vertical doors as they age and to be modernized? Very common question. Again, we're 120 years old, so it's a question that we're very familiar with. We have made this door for 120 years, but there have been many other manufacturers of doors. I don't know how many of those are in Asia, but for sure there are older Otis doors all over the world. And I just wanted to walk through for a few minutes what we can do, and then I'll turn it back over to the group for any questions. So it is very common, I mentioned it once or twice, for Peelle to remotorize our own power doors when they are not performing as well as the customer would like. Or we can easily motorize our manual doors. Most doors today are power operated, but there are some applications where the doors are operated by hand and they are manual. And if that's the case, we can come in at a later date and we can motorize them. Very often, we also come into our own projects that are motorized, and we remotorize them with some updated equipment. That makes it code compliant, that makes it easier to operate, that allows you to upgrade to maybe a wireless control, but it is a very common thing that we can do. as doors get damaged, because doors do get damaged, even our doors that are very heavy duty, you know, they are not impervious to the blades of a forklift. If a forklift truck operator makes a mistake and decides to spear the door, it's no longer fire rated. So we can just replace that panel. You don't have to replace both panels. We can just replace the panel that's damaged. I don't know if it's obvious to you, but this black thing here is what's called an astracal. It is the thing that is between the upper and lower panel. It sometimes gets damaged. It sometimes gets cracked because it ages. We can replace just the astracal. We can replace just the door rail. So when you have vertical doors on a freight elevator, and they get damaged or they just need to be upgraded, you don't have to rip everything out. You can just work on those doors that need to be replaced or repaired. Sometimes that interlock we talked about gets tired or old. The interlock works with the cam. It's not uncommon that we replace the interlocks and the cam. Every door has an interlock. So if you have a project with 3 doors, there are 3 interlocks, and there's one cam that rides on the car that actuates that interlock. So sometimes those are replaced. I talked a lot about car gates and car doors. We are often called by customers because the car door or the car gate is an older style, or it doesn't have the safety features it should have, in which case we leave the landing doors and we just replace the car door. It's in entirety, which means the car panel, the car door panel, the rails it operates on, the operator, the car door lock, the counterweight. So that is a very common modernization. And then sometimes we're called because we just have to replace the car gate panel, either because it's been damaged, because it is the thing that's closest to the rider and the freight. So it takes a lot of abuse. So that is a very common modernization. You don't have to replace the whole thing. You can just replace the panel. Sometimes we have panels that are half solid, half mesh. This is a very popular gate in the retail operations here in North America, most notably with Target. We offer our reversing devices on our car doors and car gates that weren't originally furnished with it. In that case, they were only provided with a reversing edge on the bottom of the car door, so we can come in at a later date and put on light curtains. If you have an older Peelle existing job and the controller is of a vintage that needs to be replaced, your elevator consultant said, hey, this is relay logic, it's got to go, or hey, this is a PLC, but Peelle's got something better, it's wireless. We can come in and just upgrade the control system. That is not a difficult thing to do. And because we make a very robust landing door, we make a very robust car enclosure. So our car enclosures have interlocking panels. They can be provided with bumpers and lights. We understand that if you're going to have a freight elevator or a good lifts, it's going to take a lot of abuse. Therefore, the car door and the car enclosure is also built that well. So my last couple of slides are here. If your facility needs sales training, either something that I did or something more technical, that is something that we welcome the opportunity to do. You know, if consultants want assistance writing a spec, we have sample specs. We have sample layouts that you can show to your owner, your tenant, what the freight elevator with the vertical doors look like. Anything where Peelle is, those job prints, those job prints are free. We coordinate with your other manufacturers. We don't make the elevator, but we coordinate with your elevator manufacturer. We coordinate with your consultant. We're obviously coordinating with the elevator contractor. We offer installation, maintenance, and troubleshooting training. We understand that this door is not popular there in Asia, but we can provide remote training to make people more comfortable before it gets installed. Obviously, because we sell globally, logistical, creating, warehousing, coordinating with your freight forwarder is not uncommon for us. We provide free technical support from our factory. And obviously, we've been in business 120 years, so we have a very robust parts replacement and component replacement mechanism in place. If you do visit our website, that is what the landing page looks like. There will be an icon for freight doors and another one for passenger doors. Obviously, for the purposes of this presentation, most of what I talked about, you can find all of the manuals, the schematics, the diagrams in the freight elevator section. And then, this is my contact information. Obviously, anybody on tax team knows how to find me, but I am findable on LinkedIn. I'm findable through this email address. And if your project calls for a freight elevator or a good lifts, and you think that vertical doors might be an option, we would be happy to walk you through, what might be the best fit. All right. I've talked almost nonstop for 48 minutes.
Yes, you did, Mike, and it was a very well presented presentation. And I mistakenly also, though people are in India and some people are, attending it globally. So I said good evening to everybody. But yeah, for some of the regions of the globe, I would say good morning as well. And here I would like to share our video, which we just recently had our exhibition in Africa, Kenya, Nairobi specifically, I would say. And I would just share that if you could please give it a look for everyone. And then, Mike, I will go ahead with the questions.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't see them, so you have to tell me if there's questions.
Yes.
Unless I stop sharing, right? Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yes, you need to stop share.
Okay. Nice.
So, yes, that was our show at Africa. And definitely, I will go back to our screen and share the questions here. So yes, Mike, we have a question from Mr. Gubi Balaji, who's asking what is the advantage and disadvantages of vertical and horizontal doors for elevators?
What are the advantages? I can speak to the advantages of the vertical door. So the advantages were what I showed you in that video, that we can accommodate very wide openings. We can accommodate very shallow pits. The door is built very robust. So if you are loading the elevator with something that can knock horizontal doors out of the track, that does not happen with vertical doors. Our doors operate in sequence operation, meaning that the car door opens before the landing door. So there is less damage by somebody charging the door. The lock on the vertical door is located on the inside of the hoistway on the rail. It does not get damaged. It does not cause an elevator to be shut down when the panels get struck. And then the trucking sill, what you drive over is flat to facilitate the movement of vehicles or transport devices from the building into the elevator, and that the landing door and the car door locking mechanisms are independent, so they're not linked. So there's no shutdown when there's a compromise to one or the other. But I would say, to put it succinctly, the vertical door really accommodates openings that are excessively wide or where there are concentrated heavy loads, and any possible damage to horizontal doors because of what's being moved, you don't see with vertical doors.
We move to next question, which says, thanks. Can you please share some live demo? I want to see its operation system, please.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the video that I put up before. I mean, I could put that up again if you want.
Yes, yes, you can please do run that.
Okay, so I'm going to share. So he specifically wants to see the operation, right?
Yes, the operation system.
The operating system. I'm just trying to think what would be most appropriate. I don't know if that video I had up there, trying to think of what I have that would show that. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Give me another question while I find something, because I'm going to
Yes.
find.
Yes. So the other question is, do vertical doors come with a fire rating? And what is the maximum duration?
Oh, that is a great question. So the answer is yes, they come with a fire rating. Let me get to that first. All right. And I know exactly what to do for the other question. UL labels. All right. So our label is a UL label, but we have labels for other countries. But the largest label that we provide, and this really is a function of where the doors are tested, because not every lab has an oven this big, but the doors are labeled up to 13.6 by 12 in a masonry opening, and then 10 by 10 in a drywall opening. And that is about the same. In Canada, it's the same, and Canada has a 2-hour label. Now, UL will provide an oversized certificate claiming that the doors follow the same procedure, up to 16 feet 10 inches wide by 16 feet high in masonry, and 13 feet by 13 feet in drywall. All right. Now, the other question was the mechanism. I'll show you that now. Let me just get to it, and I'm going to have to share the screen. All right, packages, motorization.
Just below at the screen, you will have the share button.
Yeah. All right. Let me just make sure that this makes sense. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, just
No worries, take your time. Please take your time.
So I just got to find you to share this. Where are you here again? Here you go. Zoom. Got to share. Where's your share button?
So below the screen?
Do you see it? Share. I'm sharing something.
No, I cannot. Yeah, now I can. Yes.
Okay. So for the person asking about the mechanism, so this is our modernization brochure, but yeah, this will show you the best description. So here's the upper panel. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the upper panel. Here's the lower panel, and here's what it would look like on either side in the hoistway. So you can see this is the closer, but here's a chain that goes up and over a sheave and back down to the other panel. This gray thing in the back is the interlock, and this is the motor, and that is the sheave. So that's how the door is driven. What you're seeing here on this pamphlet, here is the wireless box. Here is the interlock. Here is the unlocking device I mentioned, chain. Here's the encoder, and here's the sheave and operator that the chain drive over that moves that door. And here's a little bit closer look when we have a, this is a counterweight when the doors slide up. So we talked a lot about slide up doors. So these two doors slide up in the up direction. So what would be different about it is that it has a counterweight in that case. So yeah, that's probably the best picture I can show you for how the door is driven. Okay,
Okay.
I'll stop. Yeah.
We can move to next question, which is a smaller one. I'll ask that first. Are these elevators are certified by a component person?
A competent person,
Yes.
not component person, but a competent person.
Competent, sorry, competent person.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, we're the door guy. I know that most places in the world there's an enforcement body that takes a look at the elevator. Now, maybe what this person said was maybe it's so this is something unfamiliar to them, but this product is very common in some places. And yes, of course, the door and its components are put on elevators, and all of that stuff is not only certified, but it is approved by an inspector when it gets installed. It is put in by elevator professionals. So yes, this is not a product that is provided to fill a small niche. It is a very legitimate product with a long life. And I tell you, in North America, we have lots of code people here. It spends a lot of time in committee on what is appropriate and safe.
Okay. So Mr. Satya Saiteja has 3 questions. I'll ask one by one. First question is, what is the minimum inside freight elevator size to go with a vertical sliding doors and to go with vertical biparting doors?
The minimum, is saying. Did I hear that?
Correct. The
Minimum?
minimum inside freight elevators.
Okay. The smallest door that we will do is about 4 feet 6 inches.
Okay. The second question is, and any criteria to go for these doors? Can you give an exhaustive list of criteria?
I can give you an extensive list of criteria. I mean, all of that stuff is online, but the criteria for us is there isn't really criteria. The way that I do it, if I'm called, if somebody says, if TAC calls and says, will this fit? I have to be given a platform width, and from that platform, not platform, from a hoistway width, we deduct 330 millimeters off of either side, and that gives us our door width, our max door width. And then we look at whatever vertical space you have. How much space do we have for the lower panel to slide into? How much space is between floors, and how much is in the overhead, because the upper panel and the car door have to slide into the overhead. So that's our criteria. If we can fit the door in that space, we will back ourselves into a capacity, and then we'll get our door width and our door height, and based upon the space, what configuration of door.
Okay. The third question is, Peelle doors are manufactured in India. If not, please try manufacturing in India.
Yes. I was I had the privilege of going to the IC show in Mumbai last December.
24.
Yes, and of the Indians I met, yeah, that was something very important to be local. Look, we get it. Not only did that market want us to be there to manufacture, but that market also wanted us to be there to assist in installation, troubleshooting, training. We understand it. And, part of my purpose in being here and explaining what we do is, yes, I'm here to sell, but, we have to build up enough business in India to be there. We would love to be there. Nothing would make us more happier than saying we can't keep up with the business in India. We have to build a plant. What a problem to have.
Yes.
We
So if
understand.
anyone, oh yes, definitely we are looking forward to get you here.
This is Tack here. I'm sharing on Sushita's laptop. So a few observations. One is Mr. Balaji is from Reliance. I don't know whether he's still on the line. So he is aware of Peelle freight doors. Is he still there or he's gone?
Gopi Balaji,
Yeah.
he's raising his hand.
Yeah. So I mean, if you can get him to speak, I think you can make him speak
Yes,
while
we
you do
can.
that. Second, while we get him on to give his opinion, his thoughts on it, why is it that main OEMs have a reluctance towards accepting vertical biparting doors? What is their reluctance? Why is it that they push back and they prefer to go with the regular doors?
Is that for me, Tack?
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again. I thought you were talking to somebody else.
He missed your question. So
No, I'm saying my question is why is it that the big OEMs are reluctant to work with vertical biparting doors and they prefer to go with their regular standard doors?
You mean in India or anywhere?
Anyway,
Oh, I think the majors, I think they would prefer to supply the door that they make. And I think the majors would prefer to provide something standard than something non-standard. Look, I understand that a freight elevator or a good lifts is not standard. But I all recognize that if the owner is moving something that is not standard, I think the OEM should accommodate it. And sometimes that means for the OEM that they have to either find another solution or they have to build it themselves. And most OEMs do not want to build something as a one-off. So they're going to have to buy it from somewhere else, and they don't like to do that. So, I think that is the resistance. The OEMs are our biggest customer and our biggest competitor. They will come to us when they need us, but the moment they can replace something non-standard with standard, they will. So that is the reluctance.
if you could let Mr.
Yeah.
Balaji give his
So-
comments.
Yeah, please.
Hi, Tak.
Hi.
Good evening, Balaji here. I've been regularly attending your webinars, find them very interesting and very knowledgeable. It keeps
Thank you.
helping us in understanding the upgradation that is happening and the latest technologies. Thank you for this initiative, and we are very happy to have this type of sessions going on. Coming to the point that you mentioned, I raised this question saying that what are the advantages and disadvantages. I think the speaker really told the differences, and in the presentation also it was there. So I could get the idea why vertical elevator doors are preferred. See, we had basically used this vertical elevator doors for our car lifts and other huge luggage, the lifts that were the 9 tons and the 13 tons lifts that we were doing for 5 tons and the 9 tons lift for the exhibition material and all that to be moved. We had used this. Many of the OEMs had used this particular thing. But those particular lifts, I was not very sure whether they were fire rated doors or not. And I think we had a mandatory requirement of about minimum 1 hour fire rated doors be used on those elevators. So I was just checking that whether we had any fire rating that was maximum that was available. Second point was we had used rolling shutters which were fire rated. Those, though they are vertical doors, but they are not for elevators in the fire partitions, especially in the exhibition hall and the the main hall at the bottom. We had used a lot of those vertical rolling type of fire doors, which could allow big materials to come in. So this is very interesting to see. I've seen that what you were showing at Amazon that was being used as vertical doors, but they didn't look like fire rated doors to me. That is why my question was. We have used it
Incidentally, at Geo,
in Geo. We have used it, yes, for 5 tons and 9 tons.
these are Peelle doors.
Yeah,
I
Just
mean,
for
it is supplied by Mike. Mike has supplied those doors at Geo.
correct,
Yeah, so I
correct.
didn't say that before when I was asked that question. So when I gave the group the sizes that are labeled, again, I mentioned that the max size that UL will label is a function of the oven where the doors are fire tested. So at some point, we can provide doors that are bigger than that. And what we would provide to the owner is a certificate from Peelle that they're made in accordance with UL. Because I didn't mention this, but on that door that was 10 meters wide,
You said that.
there's no way to test that door.
I
There's
know
no
you
oven
said
big
that.
enough to test that door.
I got the point. You
Yeah.
mentioned that it was 10-meter wide and the dimensions that were maximum possible. Perfectly right. What I was looking was what is the maximum rating, fire rating? 1 hour fire rating, 1.5 fire rating, 90 minutes or 120 minutes of fire rating. What is the maximum that they give for these doors that you are referring to, Peelle doors?
It's approximately 16 by 12 or 13 by
No, that is
13
the
if it's in
size.
drywall. Yeah.
Shrine, that is the size. I'm talking about the fire rating.
Oh, the
The
time is 90 minutes, hour and
time
a half.
that it can withstand a fire.
Hour and a half, 90 minutes.
90 minutes. That's the answer I was looking for. Good.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Incidentally, Mike, in India now we have door fire testing facilities for, if I'm not mistaken, 8 meters high and 4 meters, 6 meters wide. It can be
Wow.
tested at
Correct.
a facility right outside Chennai.
Yes.
Madras. So we are there. But then I think to address a question whether you will make it in India, I think it's a chicken and egg situation. No business does it come in if more people come in. And I think the more I see it, data centers are big in India. There are lots of data centers coming up and constructing hoistways which can accommodate center opening doors or parting doors. I think the wastage of space is just not justified when you have an option like a vertical biparting door. So I think it's something that the designers, the consultants, everybody needs to have a relook at. And of course, the OEMs need to start, reworking on it and sort of see that, okay, this is a long-term perspective. Okay, standard doors are good, but from a long-term perspective, it's a lot of space that is saved.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question that how it is decided that
Thank
if
you, Tak. Thank you.
Thank you, Balaji sir. How it is decided that if vertical door is required for a particular freight elevator?
How was it decided?
Vertical door is required for a freight elevator. How do you decide whether do you require a vertical door or whether do you require a horizontal door?
Oh, I think we talked about that before. I think that comes down to whomever is laying out the elevator for the owner, the tenant, the developer. A conversation has to take place. Here's what we're going to do in this building. Here's who's going to visit. Here's what we're going to make. Here's what we're going to store. Here's what we're going to transport. And if there's any risk that something is going to be moved and horizontal doors can be damaged by the wheels of a forklift or the bumper of a car, or if what's going on in that building is manufacturing and that owner is going to be moving stuff in pallets. Anytime there's damage to horizontal doors and that elevator could be out of service and the owner is doing something in that building where they can't have that elevator out of service, I think they look at vertical doors because they're more robust and they're more suited for things to be moved in and out of the elevator. So I think it's a function of what goes on in that building and what they're transporting and how
The
important
purpose
that
of
is to the owner.
correct, the purpose of their requirement. So I believe that's it. There are no more questions as of now. So Mike, I would really appreciate that, getting up early in the morning in US time and being there in India time. You never ever requested once that Kshitija, change the time, or it can be convenient for me. I
No,
really
it's all
thank
good with
you.
me. And you
I
saw me
really,
with bad hair. You saw me with bad hair this morning, so you know it was
I did
early.
that. That's completely fine. I did see you in JW Marriott also, not to worry.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody's attention. Again, thanks for IC. Thank you for Tack and his team and you personally. It was a pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much,
Uh,
Mike. We've got a project to ensure that people start accepting vertical biparting doors as standard.
all right. Thanks, Tack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You have a
See you
wonderful day,
guys.
Mike.
See
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, sir.